hello again. We're just about ready to cut over to the next run here. So without further ado, this is Anachronox, any percent. Palmer, take it away.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. This is going to be Anachronox. This is going to be parts of Anachronox. I'm going to go ahead and let it run. There's an intro cutscene, and we'll go ahead and let that play out. You guys will get to experience that. We typically start the timing after the cutscene, but I factored that all into the estimate because that's what we do around here. We keep things nice and efficient. So if you guys want to start the timer, it'll be right when I click really easy. All right, so it'll be in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you, thank you. So before I get started, I just want to send a special shout out to Alpaca. He is the original router of this game, loves this game more than anybody, knows this game more than anybody. On our Speedrun page, he's got an encyclopedia of wealth of things that we don't even use in the game. We could never imagine using in the game. It's just that kind of game. So everything you're going to see, this individual came up with, labbed, a lot of it for the event specifically, got with me to work through things, come up with new tricks. So I'm just the vessel, we'll say, to bring the run to you. But no matter what happens, let's remember the real king, Alpaca, is a huge shout out to that person because they helped me a great deal. There was a couple of things that we were worried about between Windows 10 and 11, and I can't say how much stress they relieved off of me. So again, thank you so much, Alpaca, if you are watching. Otherwise, everybody else, this is Anachronox. It is a sci-fi style CRPG developed by Ion Storm, which is actually created by some of the creators of the original Doom game. And they made a few different games. This was one of them. It didn't see a lot of commercial success, less than 60,000 copies moved. But I know a few of the people who originally worked on it, Ion Switz and a handful of those developers and stuff like that. Really cool people. They spent a lot of love making this game because it's got like funny, silly Easter eggs and things like, that good old-fashioned stuff you just don't see in titles anymore. So I'm gonna let you see this opening scene, and I'll kind of catch you up on story in a bit. Shout out to Alpaca for that awesome texture. That's our main character. His name is the one getting beat up, not the beating up guy. You're probably wondering how I got here.
The money, Boots. Or next time, I mix and match.
So that's Goon right there. This is our hero.
Hit me.
Hasn't there been enough of that?
Have a heart.
You want to dead his kids?
Anyone else throwing me out of windows lately?
Come clean with the dead, Sly. Dead is no slouch, and he's got muscle. He'll collect one way or the other.
Hey, money's tight. As soon as it rains, I'll pour some.
I'd suggest a job if I thought you'd take it.
Try me.
The key to my cellar's missing.
Oh, yeah? Where's the job part come in?
When you find it, I pay you.
Man, I need a real case. I need a challenge worthy of my deductive and pugilistic skills.
So essentially what you're seeing here is exactly what it looks like. Our main character is a washed up, slightly intoxicated detective. Things are not going his way. He's obviously got no money to his name, which seems to be just a recurring theme. And he's going to call Fatima here, which is actually our mouse. So the mouse in the game is going to be that pointer right there. And it actually houses an AI, basically a spin-up, so to speak, of his ex-girlfriend who passed away. And she is now, her consciousness is now stuck inside of our mouse pointer for the basically the remainder of time. She's actually like super bummed about it. Like, it's not really, I don't want to use the word, use the words against her will, but it's...
Anything on SenderNet?
You'll get it. You'll see.
Nothing you're sober enough for.
See. Very sassy,
I'm
Fatima.
just waiting for business to pick up. What's with the attitude?
For one, I'm sick of being dead.
And
Reasonable.
second, I'm tired of watching you drink and walk away. When did you become such a bum?
I'm not a bum.
Prove it.
Bums don't have offices.
An office isn't a storage room in a cheap bar, Boots.
Hey,
It's time for a new line of work.
forget it, sweetheart. I'm a detective. It's what I do.
Then go out and do it. I'm always here if you ever get off your butt and make useful.
So, this is going to be the start of our game. This is typically where we'd start the timer once I get obtain movement. Now, I'm going to start off right off the bat with a save just because there are some instances in this game where things can get a little hairy if you miss certain skips. So, just to be safe, I'm going to do that. And the first thing we're going to do here is miss the skip. Ah, I told you. That was a test to see if everybody's watching. You get familiar with this screen here because we're going to open and close the game quite often. It gets rid of certain instances like battle skip and things like that. So I'm going to slow this down just so I can get in there. There it is. Once we see the pause, we're in good shape. So that's the first skip of the game. We just skipped a little cutscene right there. And that's pretty much the story of the game. Is you're going to be seeing that menu used to skip things quite a bit. We're going to make a save right here, and then we're going to load it once we see that pause. And there's actually the first fight in the game takes place right here, and there's a cutscene that precedes it. And because that cutscene is actively playing and the fight never takes place, we can't take encounters for the rest of the game. And what's beautiful is that we can actually open that save at any point and trigger that, and then load wherever we're at in the game, and it will persist. So we can turn it off and on at our disposal. So you're going to see me do all these save and loads. Every time I'm doing that, I'm skipping a cutscene. Right off the bat, the game wants us to go to a tutorial area where you have to learn how to fight. But because we have the battle skip on, he's going to be like, all right, fight this thing. And we're just actually going to turn around and leave. So he says, hey, it'll be 5 loonies, which is the currency in this game, on Anachronox specifically. And he doesn't have any because you're supposed to actually pick up your wallet, and Fatima won't let you leave unless you do so. But because we skipped that cutscene, we never got our wallet. And the guy says, that'll be $5. And because you don't have $5, he's like, whatever, man, just go ahead and learn how to fight. So we've already skipped a lot of stuff that's mandatory for the game, and it's hard to even tell. So again, that robot's there sitting, waiting for us to fight, but we just turned around and said, you know what, pass. Because we have that battle skip up currently. So it's persisting underneath us, and we're just going to run past a couple of these what look like monsters kind of standing around, and that's because that's exactly what they are. See this guy right here? We're supposed to be fighting him. Yeah, oh, ugly feller, unfortunately. It's too bad. This game is comedic in nature, so it was all written with humor and stuff like that in mind. So a lot of the characters are really strange looking and alien and things like that, and it's supposed to be kind of like this comedy, sci-fi, futuristic, alien kind of vibe. So you're going to see me interact with a lot of these objects, kind of like, click and point style of the reminiscent of that old era. And occasionally, you can open and interact with those same objects with the space bar or whatever you have it selected at your world select button. But not always, for some reason. So I don't know why. We're going to save and load this. We're going to skip another cutscene. Oh. Let's go ahead and load that. Sometimes that happens. Let's load this out here. All right, we turn around, click on this, and we're basically just getting the flags that are necessary in order for us to progress. So what's going to happen is Boots is going to find work. That's our first task. We're going to go find a job. However, we're actually going to do things a little bit out of order because this game allows us to kind of really bend the rules of space and time a little bit. So story-wise, you're supposed to go and meet a person who got real beat up in the mines that exist below the I guess streets, you would call them, if that's what you could call them. And they're like tunnels basically underneath the city. And she got real beat up, and you find her and you say, well, where you got real beat up? She said, oh, some strange old man gave me a job to do. And we basically take that job over, right? And we'd have to go meet the old man after that, and then we go into the tunnels. But we're actually going to do that in reverse order. So we're going to do part three first. And then here's a skip here. We call it the Batman. You just jump over that siding, and then whoop, we come down here, and it saves us a little bit of time. But we're actually going to do part 3, then come back and do part 1, and then part 2. And we're going to do that because we can actually skip into the tunnels area ahead of time. This guy's not supposed to be here, but if we hit pause, and we end dialogue, and we hold sideways, we actually double our momentum when moving sideways for a little bit. So we're going to just whoop, ramp right over that ledge. And we're going to jump into space and zone from the underside into an area we shouldn't be at. And here we go. So now we are in the basically the end of the game, or the end of the first area. I'm going to make a save right here. This is actually a cool marathon trick. Doesn't save any time. I got to drop battle skip to do it, which is why I'm opening and closing the game. The only way to get rid of that battle skip is to open and close the game. Certain things, cutscenes, NPC encounters, things like that, won't take place if battle skip is up. So certain times we have to mess with it there. I'm going to make another save right here. I'm going to hit F5 to make sure battle skip is off. I'm going to move my mouse to about right here. Oh, not in a good spot. Not a good spot. And we're going to try to make sure the keyboard is configured correctly. Okay, space and mouse wheel down. So there's an item in the wall right here, and it's technically above us in a guard's inventory. But because he is... I'm going to have to click it and reload. But because his character box extends through the wall of this elevator here, we can actually reach it. And I'm going to try to do multiple inputs at the exact same time by spamming the mouse wheel. Oh. And we're going to see if we can pick up this item, because it basically solves all the money problems in the game a little bit early. Again, doesn't save any time. We have like another money route that we do, but this is really cool if you can get it to work because it's a whole bunch of dollars. Well, unfortunately, the game doesn't seem to be agreeing with me, so we're just gonna... All right, Sergeant Laserblade, there we go, we got it. Let's see how many we got here. We only got 1. That's unfortunate, but I don't have time to sit here and stare at this wall and scroll this mouse wheel all day. I got things to do. So we're going to go ahead and take off, and we're going to disappear because we're not supposed to be here, so a lot of these cutscenes are going to be broken. We're technically supposed to have a second party member, and we're going to get to a cutscene here in a second where we get that party member. And in doing so, it'll be like, all right, you know what? You made it this far. You should have this party member. And he just joins us, just like that. And then we go back and do the things required in order to actually obtain him, so it just gets really confusing really fast. We're going to load the fountain area to turn battle skip back on. Load the tunnels. And now we can bypass all the fights here. So because I didn't get the skip, or I didn't get the duplicate item there, we're actually just going to pick up all of the little objects to sell. And this area is going to take me a little bit to traverse. So host, if you have anything you'd like to plug, donations, anything like that, this would be a great time for you to take it away, my friend.
Certainly. So we actually got a donation a little while ago from $10 from RP Priya. I probably won't be awake for when it comes, besides which Anachronox is short and he'll have a lot to talk about. So here's to Palmer, the Kiwami, Skunk, and Kitty Casino King. I really want to see the cutscene, but I also want to see the NPC in Anachronox. Can you tell us a little about those things?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you so much, RP. Great homie right there. Absolutely love RP Priya. And yeah, as mentioned, really strange incentives in this game. So the devs, I mentioned, they made this game with a lot of love. At the beginning, or at the end of the game, we can actually go to a certain area that we won't see in the speedrun and turn on the ability to fly, and we're going to go to a building you shouldn't be able to reach. And there's going to be a really ugly NPC there. from the early prototype days of the game, and he's going to be like, "Oh, nice, you got up here. You must have cheated, you cheater." And he basically heckles you for cheating. But then he also, you can ask him, like, "Why's your head so square?" He's like, "I only have 200 polygons." It's some pretty interesting stuff there. So it's kind of like a fun little Easter egg in PC. Most people who play casually probably never even know exists. And then on the other side, we have the cutscene, and most people who play the game casually will be familiar with that because that's like the big like flagship funny scene in the game that most people would be familiar with, and they advertised a lot upon the game's release and things like that. So both a special treat, definitely. I enjoy them. I hope you guys would as well. So if the donations come in, I would be happy to oblige. So here we're actually going to approach that point in time I told you that we're going to reach a cutscene, right? And because we're supposed to have characters in certain spots and then we're not, and we hit cutscenes, a lot of times you're going to see broken cutscenes in this run, and that's not how they're traditionally supposed to be formed. All right, so this is going to be the first one. Right now there's supposed to be 2 of us. You're going to see Boots look to his side at a character that isn't there. Heck yeah. Yeah, they're ready. Anyways, there he is. That's Grumpos. So now he's joined us. We actually haven't met him yet, which we have to do later. So don't let it confuse you. I'll try not to let it confuse me. So this game right here, you're meant to not blow up, but we don't have time for that. And unfortunately, you guys didn't make it. Can we just pretend I beat it? And there you go. You don't actually have to do it. Shout out to the developers. Very ahead of their time. They knew speedrunning was going to be big for this game. They knew the 2 of us were going to love it and tear this game apart, and here we are. So once again, shout out to Alpaca. So now here is this lovely cutscene. We have Grumpos, we have some voice acting, which this game is full of. And if you play it casually, there's just tons and tons of hours of voice acted content on all kinds of different interesting planets. And each planet has a different theme, and it's highly, highly recommend you give it a try. It's literally a single $1 on GOG, so promise it won't break the bank. All right, so we're going to move forward with basically this dungeon. We just got to move to the very end where the final boss would be. All of the ugly little creatures and things you're seeing we're supposed to be fighting, but I'm just walking right past them. There's a lot of cutscenes and things like warps and tech we're going to utilize by using the save and load menu, as you've seen me do. But we're also going to utilize the mod menu, which allows us to watch any cutscene that we've already unlocked and gotten credit for at some point in the game so far. And because of that, we can actually layer multiple cutscenes over each other and do some really, really strange things. So when we get to certain parts in the game, you're going to see that really come into full force. And I'm going to pick up just some extra items because it is a marathon, and in case I miss an input or two, I don't want to be out of dollars. But even if we were, since it is a marathon run, there is a really silly console, debug console in this game we could turn on and give ourselves dollars, but like that's not the spirit of things, you know what I mean? So first we're going to save here. This is going to be the first cool trick in the game. We're going to save here. We're going to crash the game to get rid of that battle skip once more. We're going to load the game. We're going to turn around and we're going to pause the game and save in the middle of the cutscene that should play here, which will give us credit for said cutscene. So we're going to, oh, there it is. Once it sees pause, that's how we know. We're going to load the fountain area. And while the cutscene is actively playing underneath us, we're going to load the same cutscene. So now we're going to be playing 2 cutscenes at the exact same time. At the end of these cutscenes, your character is going to be standing where they would be when the cutscene ends. Now, because there's 2 cutscenes at the exact same time, there's a small frame of windows in between those cutscenes ending where you can actually save the game, so that when it tries to reset you back to where you were when the cutscene started, you can actually just load that save that, again, puts you at where the cutscene was when it ended. So, pretty easy to understand. Glad you guys are all following so far. If you need me to explain it again, you can actually just click on RPG Limit Break, go to the videos, and watch the VOD, and just rewind it a couple times, because it is confusing me. All right, so we're going to save the universe right here, and then we're going to let the game unload. We're going to load the universe. And look at the boss. He's back to sleeping. All right, we're going to just head out of here out of bounds, and we got to get back inbounds somehow, and we're just going to warp over there into the ether. And we have credit for that scene. That's obviously how we were able to play it. And now we're going to go to the end of this dungeon here. We're going to pick up an item. And this item really is kind of like the ignition point of the entire story. It's where you kind of find out like what your real mission is. I'm going to go ahead and save here just in case something unexpected takes place. But all right, that is the cutscene. And we're going to let this cutscene play out, get credit for it. Then we're going to end the next cutscene a couple of seconds into it once we've gotten credit for it. And then we're going to do the double cutscene again to skip that cutscene, end up where it should leave us, and that's going to put us a couple minutes ahead.
We've got to get this back to my lab immediately.
So what he's talking about here is this Mystech. This item is basically a relic of the old gods, so to speak. And it contains a ton of in this game's magic, mana, whatever you want to call it, energy, and it's called Mystech. And this is basically an item that's like, oh my goodness, this is a really amazing item. We should consider like learning more about it or whatever. So that's kind of the ignition point for the, oops. Yeah, there you go. That's kind of the ignition point for the plot, where it's like, okay, now we need to leave this planet and basically travel the universe, going to different planets, trying to find out more about Mystech, where it came from, how we can use it to better our lives, make us not poor, etc., etc. You know, real things people care about. And that's kind of the thing. This game doesn't take itself too seriously. A lot of the characters' goals are not super awesome goals. They are selfish, and most of the team is ragtag. So this is a world skill. We're actually going to not do that yet. We're going to save the game. We're going to close the game. We're going to open the game. Then we're going to pick the lock. My apologies. And when we do so, we're going to play this fun little mini game where, and the reason we have to save and load right there is because there was those two cutscenes still playing, and when they ended, it was going to start us back at where they began, which was way back there. But now we close it. It's a non-issue. So now we do the fun little lock picking. Every character in the game has a ability that they can do. Boots is to pick locks. Now this bar is going to fill up as I get closer. Okay, perfect. Or further away. One thing is it can never be the default number, so it's always worth spinning off of. Let's see if it's... it won't tell you if you're getting closer, if you got to go up or down. So you just have to assume, and then, oh, either 7 or 9. Because it couldn't be the default, it had to be 9, or it had to be 7 rather. So we're going to step forward. Once we see these lights turn on, then we get credit for the scene. All right, let's go ahead and close it out again. Then we're once again going to play 2 cutscenes over each other so that we don't actually have to watch the cutscene. They cancel each other out. It's PEMDAS. So let's go ahead and deanimo the stump. Mods, deanimo the stump. And then we go through this door here. And we're supposed to be watching this cutscene. We're going to take this valuable bracelet. We're going to run over here. We're going to try to pick this lock in order to unlock the save menu so that we can hit save, because the game doesn't allow us to save otherwise. And then we're going to crash the game again because we have those cutscenes playing. We don't want them to unload and move us somewhere. And with that, we are now free of all of the cutscenes and things like that that could potentially derail us. And we got the bracelet. And we skipped all that nonsense. And we can just turn around and continue with what we were supposed to do. So again, I said there's part 1, 2, and 3. That was part 1, meeting the mangled Deanimo there. And she tells us Grumpos gave her a job. She got her butt kicked in the mines. We actually already went to the mines and beat everybody's butt by not doing anything, actually. So it was not really that serious. I don't know how she got that injured. We're going to go ahead and go up to Grumpos' room because, again, we haven't met... Even though he's right next to us, we actually haven't met him yet. And we need to do that in order to trigger the story flag in order to get off this planet. So, yeah, unfortunately, Grumpos is not a super nice guy. But we actually don't have to watch his cutscene either because, again, as soon as we get credit for this cutscene, which is right here, we're going to open this. And then we're going to do the old double cutscene trick, meeting Grumpos here, which is obviously when we meet Grumpos. You have a couple of frames to open this menu a second time, so it's not as easy as it looks. I'm just really, really good at this game. I'm just kidding. I'm literally second of 2 people, so... That being said, this cutscene is going to try to unload. We're going to save right at the end of this elevator, and that way it'll unload. We can just load, and it's a non-issue. So we're going to save here. We're going to hands are off. You see the game unloads itself. We're going to go to the fountain area so we can turn the battle skip back on. And then we're going to go back to building. So we're back to where we were, progressing the story, getting all the things we need to get done, and actively dodging encounters again. So Grumpos, he says the first thing we got to do before we go into the mines is actually get this helmet from a guard. And this guard is having like a, I don't know, I don't want to call it a crisis, but he's having like a real philosophical moment where he's like pondering a lot of things, and you have to give him some interesting dialogue option choices in order for him to give you this helmet. You're supposed to have to fight him, but because we can't fight anybody right now, we actually just chat. He gives it to us for free and we leave, which is really favorable. We actually will use that same sad guard to later on in the game. You do a really cool warp. So he's a real bro for just being part of the run multiple times. We're gonna come sell all that junk that we picked up in the mines, and we have more money than we will need, which is excellent. Come back to Gallus. We won't be coming back to Gallus, but I appreciate it. So the reason we needed that is because Boots, he's got debts. Obviously, that's why he keeps getting beat up by everybody, thrown out of stuff. He's got debts, right? And he is actually trying to make sure that Detta, the guy who he owes debts to, doesn't come and collect, which would be a pain because he has no money. So even when you try, Detta controls so much, the underworld boss controls so much of these worlds and these and the politics and things in this game, that we go to actually purchase a train ticket and it'll say, you can't buy this, Boots, you still owe me money. So we need $5,000 to be able to access the ticket that's going to warp us to the end of the game way earlier. And then we need Grumpos actually to purchase the ticket because, again, Boots is he still owes a lot of money. Now, naturally in the game's story, you're supposed to do a lot of stuff in between. You're going to meet a guy named Eddie, and Eddie is like the smartest. He knows everything in the universe, but his brain is so full of knowledge that he actually can't keep it straight unless he chews on something stinky. Yeah. So you have to go and find, there's like a guy with an amputated foot, and it has a sock on it, and it's been sitting for some years. So you get him that sock, he chews on it, and he tells you what you need to know. Fortunately, if we've skipped all of that. All right, so let's talk to this guard. There's no smelly socks or anything. What a beautiful day. I haven't felt this glad to be alive in years. Green skies, smell it rocket fuel, yada yada. Okay, we talked to him again. Too bad I've still got a headache from this helmet. Well, just so happens we need it. It's a size 5, cutting off his circulation. He was passing out. Okay, do you think I can have the helmet since you're not using it? Sorry, it's not mine to give you. I really need it. Have pity. I'm an unemployed loser. I won't listen to any self-pity. You gotta change your outlook. It could be much worse. Thankfully, you're not living in poverty on a planet like Guinness. Life gets easier when you put things in that perspective. Life gets easier when you give me the helmet. And that's kind of, I choose to be happy, glad for you. And that's kind of the nature of the game, is you just bother people a whole lot until you get what you want, which is exactly what we're about here. Now, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to check my notes, because if I screw this up, then, okay, that was right. If I screw this up, it'll actually mess the game state up, and then we will be in a bad spot. So just going to be very careful about that. We're actually not going to walk all the way back because that's slow. So instead, we're going to watch a cutscene that's going to unload and put us in a pretty closer spot.
I busted my knuckles for this.
Yeah, yes, he busted his knuckles. We know. And this happens quite a bit. We'll utilize these cutscenes to take our basically our save file to different parts of planets and save really quickly before it can unload on us. And then we're going to load it like it never happened. Take that, game. So yeah, this is where we were earlier. And I'm actually going to take a second to reconfigure the keyboard since I butchered the trick earlier. Oh, whoa, excuse you. So cycle characters, we're going to do mouse wheel. Let's do defaults here. Sorry. That is a new trick that we just came up with, the duplicate items. So I learned that for this event, and unfortunately, it just wouldn't hit. This game has a lot of weird interactions. If you have like if you skip certain scenes at certain times, or you save or unload at certain times, then you can potentially like mess up your ability to do tricks. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time doing something just in case it's actually not possible. So we're gonna warp to the fountain area. We're gonna do another cool trick. We don't want to take the elevator and listen to Grumpos and all that. So instead, we're going to just click on the Grumpos that's in our party. And it's going to take us to where he actually should be, which is not with us. There's Invisible Boots. He should be in this cutscene. And that's
And
that.
a beefed-up security
So we're
system
actually going to end up
and
right where we started. We're going to walk past
against the
ourselves
tunnels
here.
might be trouble.
We'll deal.
Yeah, that's
Here,
us right there.
Take this and
Hey,
plug it
hello,
in your
and move.
ear. You'll understand every language from here to the Traeger anomaly.
Spiffy. Where'd you pull this baby from?
The Nox Guard helmet.
Woohoo, still running around, you know,
Became
just doing
standard
stuff.
issue 2 months ago.
So yeah, what he's saying is that helmet we got had
Communicate with the
a
aliens
translator in it that can understand any language in the galaxy. We needed that so that we can go
where the hell
inquire
we go
about
now?
this incredible
Lead the
piece of
way,
technology.
hot pants.
I always do that. Put you backwards right there. All right, Fatima, she always kind of tells you like, hey man, this is what you're kind of supposed to be doing right now, but we don't care, Fatima, we don't care. So we've returned the helmet. First thing I need to do here before I move forward, aside from scroll down in my notes, is moonwalk backwards on boots, because that's hilarious. And then turn on the battle skip. Because remember, we don't want to fight. Oh, wait, we already have the battle skip active, so it didn't even matter. See, I'm already starting to lose track of things. This is going to be interesting. All right, so we're going to go talk to that big bug that you saw earlier, except you didn't really see him because I skipped him, but you should have saw him earlier. And he actually is the one who tells you about the stinky eaten guy to begin with, right? So you can see how there's like a long chain of events that we're just kind of bypassing. And then we're going back after the fact retroactively and just getting the triggers that are necessary in order for us to leave. We're going to spend the largest amount of time in the game on this planet, the opening planet. And because it requires so many things to be triggered, so to speak, for us to be able to bail. So we're gonna talk to this guy. He basically tells us about Eddie, the guy who eats a stinky sock. We don't actually mind Eddie, but if you're running around, you'll see on the walls it'll say things like Eddie knows, and that's kind of all about like Eddie's supposed to be like this real secretive guy. So we're gonna skip that cutscene twice. It saves our game state. We're going to come backwards. We're going to take this, and the game's going to try to unload that scene at the end of this elevator movement. So again, we're going to save and load there. And now our next mission is to go get the third-party member. Now, you can get really any third-party member you want, but we're going to get the one, obviously, that's fastest and easiest, and that's going to be Pal. Pal is a robot buddy of ours, and he's like our robot assistant, and he's sentient on accident. And Boots, because he was out of money and he didn't have money for alcohol, he actually took his battery out and sold it. So Pal has been deactivated for a while. So now that Grumpos has given us a little bit of scratch to go bring our friend back to life, we're going to go buy a battery from somebody in the other parts of Anachronox that we haven't explored yet. And because it's so dang far away from where Pal is, which is all the way back at the bar, we're actually going to use a warp that's going to warp us back to the bar, which is another funny broken cutscene looking thing you see there. So we're going to see this guy up here. He's going to ask me, hey, it's $200 to buy this battery. And typically if you didn't pick up the extra item to have extra money, you would have to say no. And then he'll say, okay, how about 175? And then you pay the one, oop, come on, bro. And then you have to pay, so leave it, right? And then you pay $175 and you end up with exactly $5,000 left, which lets you buy the ticket. We have extra money, so it's not a big deal. So we're gonna do really easy here to basically start the game over. We're gonna try to watch Anachronox intro. And then we're gonna load our save file here. So what that's gonna do is it's gonna play the opening scene as if we're starting the game over. And then at the end of it, it's gonna put us at the end of where the opening scene would put you, which is, again, back at the beginning of the game, which is where we need to go now, but it's much further away than the length of this cutscene. So this is the opening cutscene. You've already seen it. It lasts like a minute or two. So if you want to squeeze in some host things, you are more than able to, my friend.
Okay, certainly. If you're just joining us, RPG Limit Break is coming to you live from Denver, Colorado, where we are raising money for NAMI, or the National Alliance on Mental Illness. NAMI was formed in 1979 as a grassroots advocacy organization by a group of parents whose children suffered with serious mental illnesses, and they have maintained that focus to this day. We have so far raised over $26,000 at this event for NAMI, and over the course of all RPG Limit Breaks, we have actually raised over $1 million total. We do have a $25 donation from Night Flyer with no comment.
Thank you.
And we also got $6 from Manic with the comment, $1 million lifetime total? Get. 25,000 marathon total so far? Get. A bunch of cool new games I've never seen before? Get. Common command in text adventures? Get. Popular bounty hunter in Star Wars? Fet. What am I when I go swimming? Wet. Has this joke gone on too long? Bet. Thank you for those donations.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So like I mentioned, it's going to unload us right at the beginning of the game, and we're going to move to Pal. Pal is actually in Boots' office, which is where we got hurled out of at the beginning of the game. And he's deactivated right now. So we're going to go talk to him. He's a super funny character. He's accidentally sentient. Nobody really knows why. Game doesn't explain it, so don't ask me. Here's Pal, my friends, ladies and gentlemen. It's a really short scene. And we actually do need it to warp later, so it's important for us to actually watch this one. Because he has bones.
Hey, settle down, hotshot. Battery comes out as easily as it went in.
No, please don't, Mr. Boots. I'm a good boy. Don't turn me off. No.
It's actually kind of sad.
Hey, you're acting pretty funny. You burn out a circuit or something?
For what it's worth, Boots is actually not supposed to have a black eye anymore. You're supposed to get cleaned up, but because we skipped all that stuff, he's actually going to do the whole game with this black eye. Throughout the game, he would change into like a lab coat and a bunch of different other things. But in this, that's actually not. In our run, he's black eye Boots. Get used to it. So we're going to save here. We're going to go to mods to make sure we got credit for PAL 18 weeks. We did. We're going to set up a new skip right here. We're going to try to lockpick this. We're going to click on our... Never mind. We're going to try it again. We're going to lockpick this. We're going to click on this picture of our family. That's going to let us disengage the lockpick. But the game wants to bring us back to the lockpick door. So we're going to click on this object, type a couple of times, and try to do it at the perfect time to put us in this desk so that we can jump out this window. Yep, pretty easy to follow. Thank you. Can't actually save right here, which is odd. Yeah, that is strange. Might have to load that back up again. So it appears like we broke something when we did that skip, which does happen sometimes, like I mentioned. If you don't do things in the exact correct order, then sometimes things get a little hairy. Uh-oh. So let's do it like this. We're going to crash the game out. We're going to go back to that scene. And we're just going to leave like normal because for some reason that's bothering the game right now. But you saw the skip, so it wasn't like I was incapable of doing it. Don't let anybody tell you that I can't do it because I just did it twice. And for what it's worth, Alpaca, the same person I mentioned, did come up with these incredible RPGLB textures, which look really sweet. For what it's worth, you're supposed to be able to do that skip there. I don't know why I can't. And again, sometimes it's a matter of like, I'm on Windows, you know, this or whatever. And that's cool. But I don't want to, for the sake of the marathon, keep trying with the off chance that it's not possible. And that is just the beauty of Anachronox. There are so many moving parts going on underneath here that we actually don't really know what's going on ever. And the best thing you can do is back it up a little bit and progress as planned. And that's what we got here for you. This is called the Walk of Shame because it's the longest walk we have to do in the game. So if you have anything else you'd like to plug up there at the host stand or any other donations, feel free to take it away for a little bit.
Sure, we did get a couple of donations. We got $25 from Danky Kang with no comment. We also got an extra $2 donation, anonymous, no comment. Thank you for both of those. I want to give you a little update on the incentives for this run. We have the hidden NPC, we're at 210 out of 300, so getting pretty close on that one. Just, you know, maybe a few donations to get that one cleared. And we also have the show the famous ship cutscene, which is at $25. We need 600 for that, so definitely show that one some love if you can.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you so much for the donations as well. I know this is the late hour, and I appreciate everybody who's still rocking with us and donating, and it's for a good cause. Nami, I've actually had the great pleasure of being at RPGLB mostly every year since 2018, at least attending, if not running, and just never a bad time. Always great people, always a great event. So if you're on the fence about coming out and joining us, feel free to do so. It is, I have nothing but great things to say about my time and experiences here. And man, Denver's been a blast. So that's my 2 cents. Again, thank you for the event, for having me and displaying Anachronox. We'll just leave it at that. Game is a loose word, especially how we're playing it. So we're going to go ahead and move to leave this planet. I know you guys are tired of seeing the same old thing, and I am too. We're ready to do some really spectacular skips and warps and things that are a little bit odd. But first, remember how I said everybody has their own ability? Well, Grumpos' special ability is called Yammer, and what he does is he will just take deep breaths and then talk someone's ear off to the point that it, makes them really upset, and they just leave or do whatever we want. And we're gonna do that on this NPC here to get him out of the way so we can purchase our tickets. All right, so I got a lab. Okay, there we go. It is exactly what it looks like. We just got a deep breath, mash these. There it is. And then he's going to say all these words. Holy no, you have ruined me. And then he's going to leave. Excuse me. And the reason he says that is because you're going to see here that one ticket is $100 and the other ticket $5,000. So on accident, Grumpos distracted him, and that poor guy spent all his money on that ticket, and now he's financially ruined. So we're going to purchase this, or we're not going to purchase this cheap ticket. We're actually going to look at it, right? We're going to back out. We're going to go back to the screen. We're going to pause. We're going to click on the expensive ticket. It's actually still $100 from the last ticket's price. We're going to buy it that cheap. Then we're going to undo that. We're going to pay $100 or whatever for the first one. So if he knew he could pause the game, he could have just paid it for whatever. But, we move on. We move on. There's actually a cool other way to access this area by doing a little skip right here. I don't know if it actually saves time, so I didn't want to show it off because Yammer is so funny. And that's a cool ability. That every character that we get in the game is going to have their own unique world skill, is what it's called. And they do different things. All of them are silly in some capacity and useful at some point in the game. And you do have to do like little mini games. I guess you could, puzzles is a better word for them. And we're going to take ourselves now to Cinder Station. So we have successfully oh, that's a pretty good time. We have made it off of Anachronox, which is easily the longest section of the game. And we are now going to Cinder Station, which in the game's progression is the place where you would go to. It's basically your hub world. There's a lot of different doors you can exit that'll take you to different places. And you basically unlock those doors as you progress through the story. Saving different worlds and doing different things on different planets. But because we don't want to have to do all that, we're actually going to go out of bounds and then just jump into where the final door is. And then we're going to it was not even going to end there. We're going to use that door throughout the game to set up an instance where we can actually just warp from anywhere in the point in the map at any time we want. And I say that all now because it's kind of silly to watch happen, and it's going to be a little hard to describe then. So that's ultimately the story of what's going to happen. I'm going to let you watch this incredible scene. There's only a few of them that we get to see. So enjoy all of the pixels that you guys get to watch here in all these frames. There's dozens. Excellent. Now, get familiar with this cutscene because we're going to see it a little bit later, and it's going to be broken, just like the intro cutscene you saw. And it's always fun to kind of take note of the differences between the broken and unbroken cutscenes. Usually they involve a lot of weird green stuff happening on the background that isn't supposed to be there. So now we're going to Cinder Station, which again is that hub world. And the very first thing we do when we land is we're going to save and leave, which is really cool. We spend very little time here, and alternatively, this is probably one of the areas that casually you'd spend the most time because it kind of facilitates getting to the other elements of the game, different chapters and whatnot. Alrighty. So once we get in here, I'm going to immediately save. You're going to see me try to load. Now I'm going to load very specific cutscenes, and these cutscenes are going to allow me to manipulate my character movement while the menu is open. And they have to be specific cutscenes because they have to be specific lengths, and Boots will move certain ways when certain cutscenes are triggered. So if I choose the wrong cutscene here, I can actually really mess up the game state. So this is a pretty impactful place. So we're gonna make 2 saves just to be careful, right? Just to be careful here. And the first one is gonna be meeting Detta. So what we're gonna do is save, then we're gonna meet Detta, we're gonna load. We got a few frames to open up the menu, we're gonna save. Our cursor is gone, so you gotta be kind of careful. We're gonna load. It's gonna put us out of bounds. We're gonna be falling through space and time. We're gonna rotate the characters to slow down our momentum, and then we're gonna run. We need to be on that block right ahead of us. So we're gonna warp, warp, warp. There we go. And boom, we landed exactly where we need to first try. That's excellent, that's excellent. All right, I'm gonna make a safety save right here. Safety save right here. And now we actually have to get ourselves back in bounds. Well, how do we do that? We're gonna do the same thing, except with a different cutscene. The Stone Sentinel. So we're gonna do the same thing, open the menu in a few frames, we're gonna load, oops. We're gonna save. Again, our cursor is gone. We're gonna load, we're back inside. Oh, we're on the wrong side. Oh no! We're not in the correct spot. Which is why we save twice. This is, this is sick. Oh, I see what happened, All right, there we go. I wasn't far enough off. So we're going to load the Stone Sentinel one more time. Where are we at? Stone Sentinel. We're gonna load. Save. If we go talk to that guy, he calls us basically not very smart and he insults us a bunch. All right, we made it this time. Don't ask me what we did different because the answer was nothing. The game just did something different in response, and that's kind of the beauty of how it works. So don't know what to tell you. Every experience is a randomizer, and it's not even meant to be. So we're gonna go ahead and head back to Anachronox, which we just left, right? And remember, we do have cutscenes playing underneath us, which is how we were able to get in and out of bounds. So we're going to hit escape a bunch to make sure we can pop up in the menu frame 1, save, and it's gonna try to unload. And we're actually gonna crash at that point because we need to get rid of battle skip, and then we'll pull the game back up, and we'll go talk to that sad guard again. So we're gonna save right here. Game's gonna unload itself. We're gonna crash it. We're gonna open it again to get rid of that battle skip trigger because we actually wanna go trigger a fight with that same guard. And how do you do that? You go to him and he says, "Give me my helmet back." That's really it. He apparently changed his mind. So we usually don't have the helmet. We've already disassembled it for parts, so there is not much that can be done to make his day better. Fortunately, we don't actually have to fight him. We're gonna do a fun little trick to skip having to fight it. But we need him in order to set it up. So he's a very integral part of this run. He just doesn't even know it. So we're gonna save here. We're gonna go back to Cinder Station. Now we're gonna make sure that we set up this door nice, get on a good angle. Okay, get on a good angle there. All right, so we're gonna go back to the platform area. It never works first try. I'm actually convinced that it can't work first try for some reason, but yeah, it's just anecdotal. So we're gonna try it a second time. And it didn't work there. I'm actually convinced it can't work on the second. I'm just kidding. I'm just bad at it. All right, so there is a few frames you have to be able to do an input here. There we go, we got it. See, the arrows are up, that means we got it. Give me my helmet back, he wants to fight us. We're gonna warp out. Now we're going to, we actually can't use escape anymore to save the game, so now we have to use F4 for some reason. We're gonna save. We're gonna save. We're gonna save. And now we're gonna go right twice. Oh no, sorry. Oh no, wrong place. There it is. Excellent. We're gonna go to Hephaestus, and the reason we have to do that is because we have to drop our party members. In Hephaestus, they actually don't, they stay outside. So if we warp out while we're inside of the Hephaestus city, our party members actually stay out there and it detaches us. And it basically makes the game think that we only have one person active in our party. One person active in our party is actually something that's necessary in order to access an island way later in the game, and helps us do missions there a lot faster because it's supposed to be something where you separate your party members and each one of them does a task. But we're actually going to abuse this we only have one person in our party kind of idea and do all of it with Boots, which shouldn't be possible. And then we're going to utilize the fact that we don't have anybody in our party and that's going to let us do a fun skip that's going to get us off that same planet. So here we're going to come to Ed's House of Crap. and we're going to purchase a couple things. Crap, surprisingly. And we're going to purchase a turbo alert, a wrist pincher, and a shield cell. Now, the shield cell gives you a shield, and the wrist pincher makes you immune from certain status ailments, Winky and Nuts, which is like confusion and things like that. Get out of my dump, gladly. We shouldn't actually be able to do this. We don't have the battle skip up because the game still thinks we're in the battle with that guard. It's technically an active battle skip, so we don't have to fight any of these guys as well. And again, at any point, I can hit the number keys on my keyboard and warp as if we were still at Center Station. So that's what we've kind of set up at this point so far. And that allows us to really just, at a moment's notice, quick warp. We're going to travel back here, talk to this guy, talk to this guy, talk to this guy. And it obviously allows us to accelerate the rate of gameplay significantly. So we're going to walk into this area, and we just have boots, because remember, we left the other two outside of Hephaestus. Because we never left Hephaestus to go regain them, they're still sitting there waiting for us on a different planet. And we're going to go ahead and run into Limbus. And in Limbus, they're actually fighting a war against this ancient, these basically raiders, you can call them, space raiders, that are after these Mistech items that we found earlier that kind of triggered the whole plot of the story to begin. And they're after it to basically put all of the ancient powers together to reincarnate some evil god, or, you know, some kind of RPG thing like that, right? Once we walk forward here, we're actually going to get a cutscene called Prisoners of Limbus. Now, this one is actually a little bit unique because it saves your game state. So you're going to notice right here that in this cutscene, when it comes up, that Boots is by himself. And later in the game, we're going to trigger that same cutscene, and you're going to see the party with him. And that's going to allow us to change the state of how many people are in our party for the times that we need to do that without actually having to do quests that's going to get rid of them. Whew. Hopefully that makes sense. And if it doesn't, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Please come watch my stream, and I'll explain it better at that time if I can. So we're going to Prisoners of Limbus here to skip all the scenes. It's going to put us exactly where we want to be, which is at the end of Prisoners of Limbus. Because we don't have a great place to crash the game to drop the cutscene trigger, we're just going to go ahead and do it right away. And then we're going to do something with Boots, which is turn around and go the other direction, because we technically warped past this guy here. And we're going to sign up for the first chore. Now, each character is supposed to do one of these chores. There's 3 of them total. And Boots is actually going to do all 3, because remember, the game thinks we don't have anybody else in our party. So it's just going to let us do that. And the cool part is once we trigger the one that progresses the plot, because it notices that we only have one character to do it with, it's going to warp Boots from chore to chore, and we don't have to walk. Because it's supposed to change from character to character, but because there's no character to change to, it just moves Boots to where that chore should be. So it's really silly. It's a lot of fun. And I know it sounds confusing, but the tricks and things like that are a lot easier to get a hold of once you get a little bit of reps under it. It's really not that complicated. So if you're interested in picking this game up, then please, there's just 2 of us. So this guy is actually just going to give me a free firestorm here. We're actually going to go ahead and equip that right away. Equip best. We're going to take the 64. Come on. There we go. 64. And that is our shield. So what you do when you get a shield is you can actually sacrifice your mana, or whatever you consider it. In this game, it's your Mistech points for a shield point. So if you get a shield item, we can sacrifice 64 of our MP and gain like a 350 HP shield or something to that effect. And that's going to be important for us to take because we're going to fight a couple of fights in this area, which are like 2 of 5 fights we fight in the entire game. And they can actually kill us if we don't have that shield on. So we're going to do that. I'm going to save here as well, just because this can get a little out of pocket sometimes, and I just want to make sure that I'm not embarrassing myself in front of you guys. So we're going to start the first chore. And remember, this is actually the 3rd chore, but because there's only 1 of us, we're going to do them in reverse order. I'm going to let you watch this scene because it's hilarious. You're going to see Santa Dren, I don't know how to say it. You're going to see Santa, and he's going to say, "It begins." And then that's also the same picture I posted in Discord when I found all that coffee at the hotel the other day. So if you're paying attention.
It begins.
There he is. And so it does, my friends. So what's happening here is a war scene where the enemies from the other, parts of the universe are going to come over here. They're after that mistech we have, right? They're after what we got. And basically, these guys on Limbus have been actively warring against them for a long period of time. So they're willing to go to bat with us, and they're our homies. Because basically, it's their ops too. So, we don't want to deal with all that. And there's 12 of these ships. You got to shoot them down. I'm just really bad at it. And also, the crosshair is gone because the game is all messed up. I don't think you actually even have to hit any of these. You can overheat, as you see here. It's just faster if you hit them all. But I'm going to overheat and just, watch as these go by because it doesn't really matter. Ooh, come on, buddy. Slippery guy. There we go. We got him. All right, so Boots gains a level just because the game gives you EXP for completing certain tasks. And that's a very, very important element because we actually don't do anything. So we need the ability for the game to kind of push us up levels without us having to gain traditional amounts of EXP in fights or whatever else. So here's kind of the second element or the second part of this scene where you see the invaders who are fighting against the Limbus folk. They have a really weird name that is I can't remember and pronounce. So they're just the Limbus folk, these little lovely guys here, and they're gonna go to war for us, man. They are willing to die for the gang, and that is commendable. So they come out here. Here's Boots and a couple of warriors, and we fight alongside them and push back this invading force because it's in our mutual best interest. Now, there are a lot of funny points in the game where it's like you work with the leaders in each of these planets you travel to. So you're ultimately going to find out more about this item, but as you get there, you encounter like this planet has this kind of issue, and this planet is at war, and this planet has political issues, and you ultimately end up solving this planet's problems along the way. And you basically progress the game by going from planet to planet, saving each planet. Even though like you don't really want to. Boots is like not a fan of it. He can't stand that he's got to do all this extra labor, and that's ultimately how the game develops. And every planet that you save will usually give you a character. You won't see most of that, which is why I'm explaining it. One of the planets you save actually shrinks down and becomes a character with all the people still on it. Yeah, and then you can visit them, and they're like, please make us bigger again. And it's like, don't worry about it. I'm saving the universe. That planet is one of the funnier ones if you're playing casually. It's called Democritus, and when you get there, it's just in complete political turmoil over really silly things. They don't agree with each other. Art imitates life, that whole kind of thing. But you get there and you basically figure out all their problems, and you have to basically, solve this political strife that's taking place. And once you do, they're like, wow, these guys really got something. They really got something here. So they shrink themselves down, and they're like, we're coming with you. And everybody's like, oh, man. Because everybody on that planet, mad annoying. They're like the lemon grabs from Adventure Time, you know what I'm saying? They're like real loud, and the team can't stand them, and they kind of tag along like the Butters kind of partner in the team. So a ton of variety in this game. One of the characters is a superhero who's a has-been, and his world is actually a world that's entirely designed like a comic book. So all the scenes pop up like comic book animations and stuff like that. Really, really cool stuff. So this is going to be the first fight in the game, and you're going to see me hit my magic here, and I'm going to use my magical attack, and I'm going to attack this guy. And you're going to just take a gander at how much damage it's about to do here. These guys have about, 800 health, something like that. Yeah, so that's 208,000 damage we just did. And it's because when you equip a Mist Tech, it allows you to cast magic, right? Now, you should only be able to cast the magic that you have available. In our case, it should be Fire 1. Think of like what would be the equivalent of Fire 1. But if you actually just hit the magic button, which is 4 on the keyboard, and then you hit the key 9, there's a developer spell that got left in the game that you can actually just access, even though you shouldn't be able to. It doesn't even appear in the menu, you just have to know it's there. And you're going to see it here. One of my favorite things about this game is while we're doing, and this is combat, you can see why we skip all of it, because it is not fast or pretty. So you're going to see me cast a spell here with Boots. Pay close attention to his face during the casting animation, because it is just a silly one. So we're going to go ahead and take this guy out next. Yeah, like, what is that, man? Oh my goodness. And the ATB, I know 205, that's a pretty good one. The ATB is moving incredibly slow, right? Well, that's actually twice as fast as it should be moving because we got that bracelet from that chick who was real beat up, Dianimo, in the beginning of the game when we skipped her cutscene, stole her bracelet, and then left. that bracelet actually increases our ATB speed. So this is improved ATB speed. And this is one of 2 fights, which is why we do everything we can to take as little fights as possible, as few fights as possible. So it's sad that they do all these animations and all this work because it doesn't matter anyways. I just do a bazillion damage. So really, all these animations are just time lost. The game has a lot of random variation in terms of when enemies take their turns and stuff like that. The kind of dice rolls when fights begin. And because of that, you can have a little bit of variance in your runs without having actually done anything wrong, just from how these fights go. So that's going to be the first one. We're going to get a buku of EXP because we shouldn't be able to kill those things at the low level that we're at. And that's going to jump us up quite a bit in EXP, which makes the next fight a little bit better survivability-wise. However, you're going to notice that in that first fight, Boots was never targeted. That fight, you can actually not have Boots get killed. However, this next fight, they can target Boots. And if they all happen to target Boots before you can start killing them, he does have a chance to die, which is why it was important for us to get the shield cell to begin with. So this is the last fight and the last chore of this planet, Limbus. And once we are done with this, we really start moving with the end of the game. That's pretty much it. So we're going to have to do a couple of fun skips, obviously. Ooh, great ATB here. We want to start with 3. He's going to be this guy in the middle. He has the highest risk potential. So when so let's say I hit 4 to open up the magic menu, or 2 to open up movement, or 1 to open up melee, or whatever. When you have those menus open, ATB is frozen, right? Right now it's frozen. As soon as I hit 9 and I have to target somebody, no longer frozen. And people can, so it's important to, at certain times, almost kind of use a ATB wait kind of idea where you're pausing your ATB and you're making sure that damage animations go off, and then letting that menu close so that you're not having to give the enemy a lot of ATB time during those animations. So again, same process. We're just going to one-shot them using the debug spell. And that's pretty much what we're going to do the entirety of the game. So the few fights in the game that we have are made trivial by this process. The final boss is actually kind of puzzle-oriented. So even though we can one-shot him, there is a lot of, or even though we can one-shot enemies, it doesn't really matter in that fight because of the nature of how the fight is. You're not fighting a one-boss kind of vibe. But every other fight is single enemies like that for the most part, where you can actually just tackle them individually, which is what we're doing here. Now, there is a tiny chance, I don't know what triggers it. Alpaca probably does because he knows all, just like Eddie, the stinky sock guy. But there is a very, very small chance that a sergeant can pop in at the end of this fight and you have to fight an additional enemy. I've actually only ever seen it once in my runs, and I hope I don't have to see it today. Now, typically I start from 3 to 1, and by doing so, I haven't doing it in that order ever seen the sergeant, so maybe there's merit to that, but I'm actually not sure. I don't want to lie to you people. I'm an honest guy. We're about to get our turn, which is glorious because we've been here for a long time for no reason. Let's cross our fingers we don't have one extra fight because nobody wants to deal with that right now. And then we're going to go set up a pretty interesting skip. If we see EXP, we don't have another fight. Yay, there we go. All right, good stuff, good stuff. So we have now completed all of the missions at Limbus, and we got to go talk to the king, Santa, mayor, president. I don't know what he is, but his name is Santa. He's the It Begins guy. And we're going to go set up a pretty fun skip, a couple of skips actually, utilizing him and the fact that our party members are not with us. So first, I'm going to go stand right next to Santa, and I'm going to save. And Santa is going to say like, oh, hey, I'd love to help you, but you need to have all the party members with you. And because it was in our best interest to, not, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I need to reload that. Because it was in our best interest to not have our party members with us to speed this universe up, we actually got to go fetch them. So we have to fix that real quick. Cinder Station. I'm going to just save it right here. We have plenty of space. It's a marathon. Typically, you want to try to manage your loads and saves a little bit better, but I'm trying to be extra careful since I don't want to screw anything up for the marathon's sake. We're going to move forward and trigger the battle skip here. Oops. We're going to load Cinder Station. We're going to go back to Limbus, and we're going to run again. Now I have to do another walk of shame where we're just moving forward for no particular reason. So, oops, I'm actually going the wrong way. So now it's going to take even longer. So host, if you have anything that you would like to plug, you are more than welcome to do so right now. You got a little bit.
Certainly. We got a $25 anonymous donation saying, "Great cause and great Palmer run to start the day. Thank you, RPG Limit Break." Thank you.
Thank you.
We got a $25 donation from the end beta with no comment. That does mean our hidden NPC incentive here is at 260 out of 300.
Ooh.
So just $40 to get that one completed. Now, you may have noticed us talking about incentives and prizes. That means via your generous donations, you get to potentially name characters, make our runners complete difficult or ridiculous tasks, or help pick which story you get to see in current games, or in this case, see a hidden NPC. You can also become eligible to win numerous prizes donated by community members. Remember that 100% of your donations go directly to the National Alliance on Mental Illness. For more information, check the channel bio for a link to the 2025 tracker.
Thank you very much. And like I mentioned earlier, this is Prisoners of Limbus, the same scene we saw earlier. But as you remember, we had just Boots with us last time. And now we have everybody, which is ideal. So we're going to go ahead and just crash so that that cutscene doesn't have the risk of unloading underneath us. And we're actually going to go ahead and load Sesostris right here. And we're going to try to talk to Santa at the same time that we load the other save. Which should be here. And we're going to trick him. Oh, there we go. Because this save has all three characters, we're going to trick him into thinking we're actually on that save, but we're not. So we're able to use the characters in this save to move us forward in the other save, right? Trust me. So here we're going to go ahead and exit again because we just got credit for that cutscene, the dome. Now we're going to do the dome skip. So this is actually going to be a combination of the double cutscene skip here. This one has a really low frame window. Nice. The dome. Now we're going to save. We're going to go to really easy. We're going to go to mods, Anachronox intro, and then we're going to load. And we're going to do that so that we can not only get credit and get out of where this cutscene is going to take us, but we're also going to go to where we need to be next, which is going to be Rowdy's Bar. But we need to do that while maintaining the party format that we currently have at this point in time, as well as all the credit for the scenes we have. So it's very important that we don't just, warp back. It's also faster. So this is a broken scene again. As you can see, this green is not supposed to be here. My favorite part about this scene is that towards the end, and that's what tells me that I need to start mashing to get ready to save so that I don't miss the trigger, is there's a little computer just kind of floating out in empty space, and that's always my favorite part. Again, a fun little scene. If you got a quick little donation or blurb or something like that, host, you'd like to read, feel free. You got a little second.
Sure. So I just wanted to give you some very important news. The hidden NPC incentive has been met.
Awesome.
So thank you all for your donations.
Thank you guys very much. Seriously, I appreciate that. Yeah, you feel free to read that donation. You got it.
I will read that in just a bit once the message comes in.
Hey, not a problem, not a problem. Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot the process over here, which is very sophisticated. The tech team over here working tirelessly, a lot of volunteers. So again, shout out to everybody who makes this event possible because it is not easy. It might look easy, and that's because they are so good at what they do. So shout outs to everybody. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start mashing here because there's our little buddy, the computer, that tells us that it's almost time for this scene to end. So we're gonna mash save, and then we're gonna attempt to load so that the game doesn't unload on us. Save. All right, we're at Rowdy's. Game's gonna unload here. We're actually gonna load Rowdy's, and we're gonna move forward to trigger a cutscene. And even though we're in this cutscene and you can't see it, we're actually able to still warp. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this 2 times and warp back to Hephaestus, which, remember, if you go to Hephaestus, your party members are gone. So now we're gonna hit 6 twice to go back to Cinder Station. We're gonna save here. We're gonna watch a scene called PAL 18 Wakes. And then I have to load the save. Oh, I missed it. Missed the window there. Apologies. We're going to load the save. Save. Mods. PAL 18 wakes. Ah, it's not going well. That's all right. Sometimes it takes a little bit. Again, the frame window on these is super, super slim. So the fact that I've gotten them so far up to this point is actually just pretty lucky. So we're going to come back to Center Station. And in order to do this, we can't have PAL with us, which is why we had to stop at Hephaestus first to get rid of him. So we're going to, once again, PAL 18 wakes. I'm going to try a different key that usually gives us... F4 usually gives you a slightly better frame window. There we go. So let's do PAL 18 wakes. We're going to load. There we go, got it. So the game's going to pause. I'm going to unpause, and we're going to wait till we hear Boots turn PAL on. F10. So we're listening.
Pal?
Pal. Pal. Now we're going to pause the game again. So he's awake. We're going to, without being able to access our mouse,
Pal.
figure out how to save. And then load. We don't want to load during this little scene right here, otherwise Pal's ugly little... There we go. So we're going to, if you listen, you can actually hear the cutscene playing underneath us. We're going to exit here, and the game is going to try to unload that scene as soon as this ends. So we're going to save, and we're going to unload. We're going to load that save again. And the reason we did that is that's actually going to trigger the next part of PAL's, whatever PAL's flag is, and that's actually here at Center Station to initiate what is the, let's go to the final zone in the game to fight the big bad boss. So by doing that, we're actually able to bypass all of the triggers, and we're just going to go over to the bar here in Center Station, and Pal's like, you know what, I'm ready. And that's all it takes. And then after that, we just warp to the end of the game, and then we start the final boss rush, which is why the game is as short as it is. So you see Boots gained a level. We're going to see Pal over here. Excellent. The fact that we see Pal means that we did succeed in what we were trying to do. Saddle up, buddy. We're going. So we're going to save here just because that's what we got to do. We're going to go back to Anachronox. And now we're going to do a little bit of a walk of shame back to... oops. Oh, bother. That's the wrong door. We're going to go back to the station where we got on the ship to go to Cinder Station. We're going to go to the 5,000 ticket place, which is the last dungeon in the game, basically, and use that now. Now, unfortunately, I took the wrong entrance here, so I was supposed to go up to number 4. But we do have a little bit of a walk of shame here. It's where we have to traverse and wait for the ships and stuff like that. So if you have any more of those blurbs or donations, host, feel free to take it away for a little bit.
Sure. So the incentive that got us over the mark, the donation that got us over the mark there was $50 from Game Quoter with no comment. Thank you for that. We also got $5 from Lady Ariana. Saving planets and people and planets when you don't want to, that is a serious mood. These planets need more dogs to add incentive and urgency in saving them. RPG Limit Break has been an amazing event so far, and we aren't even halfway through. Shoutouts to all the great people who have made this event possible. That's you, as in anyone hearing this now, and even those who hear this in the future. Also, special shoutouts to the host of this run, Alice Rajasu, an amazing person and a wonderful friend. You made this very special to me, and I'm very happy to have finally met you. You rock. Less than 3. Thank you, Ari.
Hey, shouts to the host. Well deserved, well deserved. You've been incredible, so thank you for being here. We're going to... Remember, we're going to go back to the ticket station, but because Boots is no longer... Because we're not worried about paying our debt, and instead we're worrying about punching our way out of our debt, we actually don't care that we're in debt anymore, so the game's not going to stop us from being able to progress as Boots. However, we could switch to Pal if we really wanted to, but we just don't, because anytime you hit the switch character button, you lose your forward momentum, so it loses you a second. Not super relevant, but if you're really trying to grind your time down and you're fighting against bad encounters and bad ATB and stuff like that, those can be the little things that feel like they matter. So we're going to go over here to One Gate, which is, again, the final dungeon in the game. This is where Detta, the big boss that controls the underworld, is going to reside. Now you can see we don't have anybody in our party anymore except for Pal here. That's okay. Once we go to where we're supposed to be, it's actually going to give us every character in the game that we got so far. So we're going to get a full party for free, And then it's going to make us do this little puzzle-based mission where we have to separate them and do a bunch of fun little things. So we don't have battle skip active because that's why I'm able to, when I press F5, open up my inventory. If you have battle skip activated, you can't actively open up your inventory. So that's a cool little way to test it. As soon as I exit out of here, I'm going to set that up to make sure that the enemies in this next area don't bother me. And I'm actively talking about it so that I'm reminding myself, because I'll forget if I'm not still talking about it right now. Go ahead and do it. Yes, thank you. Oh, yeah. That is called strategies, my friend. I didn't get here all willy-nilly, okay? All right, so we're going to load one gate here, and boom. Battle skip is activated. I'm going to hit that F5 again. Nothing. That means I know that I'm immune from encounters. And we're actually just going to run. Now, there is a theoretically faster way to set up the strafe walk, which is what we used all the way at the beginning of the game to jump over that wall where we get double momentum moving sideways. And you can technically, without being able to see where you're going, traverse this area a little bit faster. However, if you run into a bunch of stuff, it ends up being slower. So I just don't bother. But if you're out there, trust me, there's tech for every inch of this game. Sometimes I just opt not to use it. And sometimes I fail at it. So, you know, each their own. This is a game that rewards a lot of reps. It's got a lot of challenge to it, while also simultaneously being like a really fun RPG. So I get a kick out of it. I'm going to save right here just because this is the end of the game. We're going to trigger a cutscene from Fatima. Are you ready? You're darn right I'm ready. And I'm going to let you guys watch this scene here. It's got a little bit of dialogue and stuff like that. I'll let you watch a little bit of it. It's basically all the party members of the game that you haven't met yet, all kind of assembling at once. So here's our team that we've never met. There's the Shrunken Planet.
It's personal.
There's our ex-girlfriend, Stiletto. Yeah, it's kind of a sensitive subject. She's not super kind to us.
I need you for a special mission, pal. You gotta break into their security center and access the system. Think you're up to it?
So Pal's whole life goal is for Boots to give him some kind of good mission. So as soon as he says, I got a special mission for you, you're going to hack the factory. He basically has this moment where he gets everything he could ever imagine. So we're now at the fortress. I'm going to do a pretty funny trick here where while this next scene is loading, I'm going to hold backwards, and that's actually going to warp us past Boots' leg of the mission. It's going to advance us to the next part. So what happens is there's basically 3 or 4 layers. The fortress, like the ground floor, the next floor, the next floor, and the next floor.
Sly?
And we're essentially going to, as different parts of the group, navigate our ways up the floor by, like, you know, doing the whole kind of like, oh, trigger something over here that lets them move over here and things like that. So Fatima, now she's been giving us a hard time the entire time for being broke, and, you know, she's like, why did you put me in here? Why are you hanging out with your ex-girlfriend? You know, like, this is all mad awkward and not something you do to somebody you cared about. And she gives us a hard time the entirety of the game, and she's about to be made to feel bad for it, actually, here in a little bit. So I'll wait till we get there. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but just remember that. Just remember that.
Good luck.
I don't need luck. I have notes right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put Grumpos on Stiletto's side. That's actually the only thing that matters here. We're going to hit escape. Now, while this dialogue box is up, I'm going to hold backwards, and it's going to finish Boots' leg for some reason. So, yeah, we don't even have to worry about Boots' leg on this ground floor part. Now, Pal's is really easy also. We're going to move over here to Stiletto and do hers. And basically, it's each character can do something different because of their world skills. So Pal's going to be needed to hack different parts of the security system and open doors and gates, move bridges, things like that. And then Stiletto and Boots are supposed to manage, like, these PC terminals. But we won't be doing that because we just go out of bounds, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to do meeting Grumpos here. Where is it? Meeting. There it is. And then we're going to load, save, if I can get the triggers. All right. Oh, we nailed it. All the tricks. And here we go. We're just going to bypass all this. We don't feel like doing that. We're going to just go to the end of this floor. Now, remember, we are using the double cutscene skip that plays underneath us. So actively right now, there is basically a timer until the game is going to move me back to where I started when I triggered that scene. So before that happens, I need to make sure that I save the game. And obviously, I want to save it as close to the end of that timer as possible, just because it's most ideal. But because of that, we usually have it pretty much mapped out of where that's going to take place. And it's going to be right up here, right after Pal does his little side of the mission. So we're going to quickly shift to Pal. He says, and then we're going to go do Pal's world skill, which is actually to hack. So we're going to do it right here. And it's funny, so you have like this little countdown, but if you actually just pause the game, you can just do it without the stress, and it just stops counting. Nice and quiet, nice and peaceful. I can't see, so I'm going to go ahead and unpause it. Oh my gosh, the anxiety's back, the music's pumping, and the timers, but it doesn't matter because we're done. And we're going to go ahead and hit save here. Oh, do this because it's going to try to unload us. Log in, bridge, move chasm bridge. We're going to try to save again, just in case I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss it, just because it is a marathon. So, all right, there we go. It should unload after this. There it is, perfect. But just wanted to make sure I gave myself wiggle room, because I kind of fumbled after I started that scene. So we're going to type in ACKM, and that's going to open all the gates we need to open, and we're going to progress the characters to the end of the parts they need to be in. So he actually needs to be moved in last. She needs to turn around. And we still have battle skip active, which is going to let us bypass a lot of this stuff. Typically, what you're supposed to do is when you separate, you're supposed to strategically separate your party so that you can, you know, withstand the different fights and things that each group is going to take on their own. And that reminds me a lot of if you've played Final Fantasy IX and you do the like the sand dungeon section, right? And you have to separate the group and kind of do things. And it really takes a little bit of strategy, right, based on what people are good at. And that's kind of what you would do in this game if you were actually trying to play it. But we're just going to, I don't want to use the word cheat exactly, but we're going to be pretty, loose with the game's rules here, and that's going to get us where we need to go significantly faster. Skips are plentiful in this game, and there are some we don't even get to use. That's how many there are, so it is a hoot. We're closing in on the main event, people. Let's ride. Save right here just for the sake of it. Oops, I actually saved a little early. That's okay. We're going to swap to Grumpos here, and we're going to stand on this. We got to make sure we're on the stair correctly. We're going to set up on this stair. We're going to save. We're going to do PAL 18, and then we're going to load, save, load. So load, got a couple frames to hit that. A couple frames to hit this. Save. We can't see our cursor anymore, but we can still hit it, and then we're out of bounds. Exactly where we need to be. Perfect. So we're going to go and click on this. Oops. We're going to activate the transport pods. Start mashing so that we can save, because the game's going to try to unload as soon as this is over. And then we're going to, so unfortunately, you have to do missions with the other characters in order to make these pods useful. You basically have to reach the pods on all the other groups. But we don't actually have time for that, so we're not going to bother doing it that way. We're just going to walk through the wall and touch the pods from the back side. And that's going to be the pod that's made for Grumpos. And because we're touching Grumpos' pod with Grumpos, it thinks that we have all the characters where we need to be, and it just progresses us. So we're going to set up a nice little skip right here. Save. I'm going to save again just because this one can't. Oop, not over Sisostrus. I'm going to save right here just in case it gets a little zany and away from us. So I'm going to go to mods and do the Stone Sentinel. I want to make sure, again, if I pick wrong on these cutscenes, it can really mess things up. So I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. Cool. We're going to load, save, load again. And that should get us through the wall. Sometimes you get stuck in this wall, which is why I made 2 saves, because if you would just keep loading that save and just keep being stuck. So we warped out of bounds, and we're going to go to the last, we're going to go basically around the transport pods we just activated, click on the backmost one, which is the one that corresponds with Grumpos, and it's going to think that we got all the ones in front of that dealt with already. So there we go, we're just going to have warp ahead, and it's going to show all the different characters being warped, even though they're nowhere near the actual transport pods. Okay, and that is those are the first 2 layers. Now next we go into the upper layer of the fortress, and there's going to be a couple of things to do there, and ultimately there's kind of puzzle solving and stuff like that. So it'll be a little bit, if you want to plug anything else, host, you have more than enough time to probably plug a thing or 2. We're going to save it. No! All right, we got to load that again and do it again. So you have even more time to plug something, my friend. Go ahead, take it away.
All right, so the exclusive RPG Limit Break Tantrum merch is now live. Shop the RPG Limit Break collection featuring shirts, the Mimi plushie, and much more. And what's better, Tantrum merch will donate up to $5 per item sold, excluding the Mimi plush, to the National Alliance on Mental Illness and its mission. Grab your gear now at tantrummerch.com/RPG Limit Break.
And the merch is excellent this year. The shirts are awesome. Highly recommend checking it out at the very least. So I didn't actually get to save and unload fast enough last time, which is why that happened. So we actually had to do it a second time. That's okay. It's a marathon. It's not the end of the world, but that is just how fast it happens. You have a few frames to hit some of those, and if you're not actively mashing, then you can sometimes miss it. And I was actively mashing. I just didn't get to the save file fast enough, which was the reason that it still unloaded even though I had the menu open. So that can happen. You got to be quick, and in order to make these saves so that they're not negatively impacting one another. So here the team is going to basically try to merge together, and we're going to facilitate them doing so on PAL. He's the only one who can open these. So we're going to basically free the way for the others. Whoop. And they will all basically unlock different things. So while that's happening, host, you have, it's just going to be some running around time. So if you have a couple more things you want to plug, you are more than welcome to do so.
Sure, so I want to show some love for our community artist, LLK, who designed the RPG Limit Break logo, and Mega Weasel and It's Kaza, who are responsible for designing several of the emotes which you can access by subscribing to RPG Limit Break's channel. All revenue from subscriptions, bits, and the ads we run contribute to funding our annual marathons, and your support in this regard is critical to helping us put on these wonderful events year after year.
Open and close it. Thank you so much for that. We are moving Stiletto along here. They're basically all going to line up with Pal, and then we're going to be able to trigger the final boss. So we're going to leave her right here. We're going to move these fellers now. And before we do that, we're actually going to go purchase, make sure I have battle skip open, I do. We're actually going to go purchase something from this guy. Now, you shouldn't be able to access this shop unless you've fought this fight, but because we have battle skip, he thinks we've already defeated them. So he's like, oh, thank you for freeing me. You're not free, buddy. Sorry to break the news to you. We're going to come down here and buy a couple of these. We actually only need one. We're going to buy a Turbo Alert wrist pincher right there, and that's going to, again, protect from Winky and Nuts. And that's really important so that we... Oh, you know what? And I need... Oh, no, we have the Freeze Me Not loop already. So I'm going to go ahead and progress here. We're good to go. And now we're basically all going to line up at the end of the game, and we're going to do a duplication glitch, actually. It's where we will duplicate all the items onto the characters that we need them on. So we should see them here. Yep. And then we should see Boots over here. And the inventory duplication glitch is actually super fun and very easy to do. So if anything in this game looks mad complicated, that is the least complicated thing in the game. So it feels really nice to be able to nail all these tricks because you're like, wow, look at how good I am. But they're actually super, super simple. So definitely come check the game out if you're interested in running an Anachronox. It is a blast. And trust me, Alpaca has put in so much work that it's not fair that I'm the only person that's gotten to enjoy it. So we're going to now just move to this indoor. We actually can't trigger it until we get everybody over here. So I'm going to save that there just in case something really unexpected takes place. And he basically says, wow, we need everybody here. You're not really supposed to move forward enough for that to trigger. That's just my bad. So now everybody is here, and we're going to switch to Boots. We're going to save. And then we're going to close. And we're going to close because we need to get rid of a battle skip. And in order to get rid of battle skip, we have to exit the game. So we're actually going to do a three-legged save here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over to Boots. We're going to equip him with Best. And that's going to put these two items on him. So we're going to then save again. we're going to load Sesostris. Now, while we load Sesostris, we're going to mash F5, and that's going to open up the equipment menu. We're going to unequip all of this from Boots. We're going to open that. We're going to open the inventory once more and equip Best. And that's going to give him another Valesis bracelet. So we have all of this already, right? And the only thing we actually... Oh, did I miss it? I must have missed it in Hephaestus, which is totally fine, totally fine. We can actually just go purchase another one. But we don't want to save over that. We'll save here, and then we'll go back to the fortress, and while we do so, we're going to mash F5 again, unequip all, and we just gained all of that armor, or all of that equipment. Now, really quickly, I'm going to actually go back to that shop guy. There is an item we want to duplicate that I want to make sure I have for the marathon. Otherwise, well, we actually don't need it. We don't need it at all. We're going to YOLO it, and the reason we're going to YOLO it is because if we technically get rid of the blue item, or the blue enemy first, we don't have any risk of being freezed. So, and that's the item we'd get, is to prevent freeze. So let's just say it's going to go well, and let's continue to do the duplication glitch here. So we'll load Sesostris again, and we're just going to keep doing that until we've done it 6 times total. So that's 1. This will be 2. This will take me a second, so host, if you want to do another blurb or something, you feel free to.
Sure, we want to send shout-outs to the people involved with our foreign language restreams. Our French restream can be found at twitch.tv/lefrenchRestream, and our Japanese restream at twitch.tv/Japanese_restream. If those restreams can help you better enjoy the marathon, please go check them out and send them some love.
Thank you so much for that blurb. We are going to go through here and unequip all. Okay. Save. Sesostris. Load Upper Fortress. Unequip all. There we go. Finally got it unstuck. Sesostris. And then we're just going to keep looping this, making sure that we have enough to get it on everybody. Now, the only person we don't need gear for is going to be Grumpos. And there's a reason for that we'll get into here in a little bit. Sometimes when this doesn't work, if you go look at your actual inventory, it'll make sure to pop it up for you there. So I think that's 4 total. We got to do 2 more. Not the fastest dupes in the world, but they're duping. We're getting there. Upper Fortress. We just bounce back these load saves. There we go. Unequip all. Save over it again. Sesostris. And then we will go ahead and do it one last time, hopefully. Alrighty. And then I'll equip everybody and make sure that we got it the correct amount of time. Alright, you know what? You're being difficult. Equip Best. Equip Best. Turbo Alert Wrist Pincher. Turbo Alert Wrist Pincher. Equip Best. Turbo Alert Wrist Pincher. Wrist Pincher. Now, this Wrist Pincher makes them immune to confusion and stuff like that, so it's very important that we get that. Okay, so we're missing 1. Oh, no problem. Let's go to Sesostris. And then we'll go over here. We got it. Cool. And let's see. No. We're going to open up the inventory again, make sure Boots is equipped. He's equipped. There we go. Everybody is equipped. We're going to go ahead and save. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to initiate the final boss sequence. So there's actually going to be a series of, there's going to be 2 fights, and there's going to be a series of scenes, and there's going to be 1 final fight. It's pretty obvious which boss is like the final boss. So don't worry. Don't worry. You're not going to be confused. But first, what we're going to do here is we're going to go fight Detta, who is essentially, right now, the biggest bad. And he is the person who essentially is held Sly basically hostage over these debts that he owes him. And we don't really know the depths of the debts, but it's apparently enough that he considers himself to own Boots entirely.
Where's the secretary? Cute. I can see why you wanted to keep her around. She worth the price?
Every penny.
What are you talking about?
Wow. So it turns out...
You like my new digs?
Turns out that Fatima, in the accident that took her life, and Sorrow and rage, Boots
Something like that.
gave up everything he had, basically sold his soul to Detta in order for him to front the money needed
Much as I
to
can get.
bring Fatima back to life in the digital format that she's in now. So Fatima finds out that she's been, you know, kind of giving him a hard time and you know, bullying him about, you know, being a bum and whatnot, when in actuality the insurmountable debt he'll never be able to overcome is actually her, right? Is the reason she's here. And that's pretty heavy. That's pretty sad. And he's like, don't worry about it. These are some tough gals. And then they decide to fight Detta, who currently is in a giant mech.
I'm not giving it to you.
And
then we're taking it.
we just got to defeat him, take the Mistech back that he got from us, which is that ancient magic relic, and go about our business. Now, remember, Stiletto, who's just now joined us, has never been in any fight, so she has no HP whatsoever. She's gonna die instantly, which is totally fine. We actually don't mind. She's gonna get EXP while she's dead. So in the next fight, she's gonna have a bit more EXP, and she's actually gonna have enough MP to be able to use the magic ability that she's got equipped to her. So if she takes a turn in the next fight, she can actually do damage, where in this fight, it's exclusively Boots that can do something. You're gonna notice that even though she's dead, she's still standing there, and that's a sweet little visual glitch. It's part of all this stuff that we've done to make the game a little less, played a little less than intended, we'll leave it at that. So the only thing you have to do to progress this fight is take out the 2 feet of Detta. The 2 mechanics will ultimately continue to heal those feet. And that will, you know, prolong the fight. But because we can burst through it before they can do anything like that, we just one-shot both feet, we progress the scene, and we head into ultimately what is the final fight with Detta, who has up to this point been the game's main antagonist. You can see as he runs, he has this funny animation where his toupee flops up and down, and that's silly.
It's a revolution, Sylvester.
Great dialogue here, I'll let you hear it.
Nobody to somebody with the right slag of Mistech. This isn't about our little street feud anymore. It's about our future.
Future, huh? You want to know the difference between you and the you 5 minutes ago? The you 5 minutes ago had 5 minutes to live.
Mic drop. All right, so really quickly, we got a turn taken. Unfortunately, he got a turn even faster. He's going to use it on Stiletto, so it doesn't matter. Stiletto is going to one-shot him, and that's going to be the end of Detta, my friends. We're not, the end game final boss is still some greater evil, because as we all know in classic RPG fashion, the real final boss is not really the final boss. It's some rendition of God that's come down from the skies that you have to, you know, do battle with in some capacity. And yeah, this game is no different. This game is no different. So you're going to see Detta get ultimately defeated here, and that will bring the torment that has the debts that Stiletto and Sly and all the pain that he's caused them, basically, you know, having control of their livelihoods and whatnot, is going to be solved, and they think they're in good shape. And all that's left after Detta is passed is to take that Mistech and return it to Rowdy, the guy, the bartender, because Rowdy, the bartender, is actually a protector of ancient magic. And you don't know that yet because we actually missed all the cutscenes that takes place. So that's my bad. And that's Detta. Not a very glorious death. He, yeah, that's pretty much it. He's dead, by the way. So if that wasn't clear, he did not survive that.
Do you?
Wow. Just like my wife answering a question with a question. Boots is confused. Same.
You did the right thing. Grab the stone and let's have a party. You just saved the universe, kiddo.
Shout out to my beautiful wife. I think she might be watching. So, love you and thank you for taking care of the animals while I'm here at this amazing event. There are plenty of animals to take care of, so I assume she's doing a smash-up job. Nobody's called me yet. All right, so with that, we are going to go into ultimately what is the final scenes here. We throw Rowdy. Remember at the beginning of the game, Rowdy says, I have a job for you, and if you'd be willing to take it, you might like it. And he's like, nah. He's like, you need to go find the key to my cellar, basically. And he's like, well, that sounds lame. Well, the key was actually that Mistech, the keystone, and the cellar is actually this portal between worlds. So Boots, the entire time, could have taken this job at any point. and
It's currently in its close
he's
state.
just so ignorant
to
that
make
he
sure
missed
it
it. And that's
stays
kind of
that
the
way.
story of Boots as a
Someone must take
character,
the
is that he's
keystone,
just
walk
goofy and
across the
ignorant,
jungle,
doesn't take
and
responsibility
drop
for
it into the
anything,
jungle.
and his character
about
doesn't
Grumpus?
actually progress
You-
much in that
you
capacity.
throw it
He's
in.
still the same kind of a butthead at the end of the game.
Give me that.
So here we have Grumpos going to turn in, or going to basically throw the stone into the fires of Mount Mord, into the fountain here, and it's going to destroy the stone, and that's going to prevent the bridge between worlds from ever being created. And if that bridge is created, it'll allow the entities on the other side of it to come through. Now their interest is to come through and consume your world before they lose their own. And it turns out, once his beard moves, which nobody has noticed at any point during the game, he's actually got the emblem of the bad guys underneath his beard this entire time. So we give it to him to throw it into Mount Mordor, and what does he do with it? He just activates the portal. So everything we've effectively done up to this point was meaningless. And the portal has been activated. Deda's dead, which I guess is still, a pro. But it turns out these rocks that have been in town this entire time, there's aliens inside of them. They just start popping out, doing business on everybody, man. The whole place is just getting aliened. And this, entity of being comes from the skies and says, "You must defeat me, the ultimate power," and we gotta defeat him. And that's, what is an RPG if not that? So we got these crazy little octopus-looking monsters. Here is the real final boss. His name is aptly Chaos, which, if you're not familiar, chaos is when things are chaotic. And that's kind of what his MO is. It's supposed to bring chaos from different worlds and universes. And that chaos ultimately will envelop certain universes. And this entity, this Dark Brotherhood, has essentially been traveling from universe to universe, prolonging their existence before being enveloped in this ultimate cycle of life and death that takes place in this universe, right? And a lot of it is powered through magic. And there's a lot of cutscenes and a lot more, exposition and plot and stuff like that you guys miss that kind of bring in color as to what they can be. There's a lot of silly pseudoscience and things they make up. And at one point, you actually open a black hole and suck up a whole world and wipe out everybody on it on accident. And then you get lost in space and you float for multiple days, and your team has cabin fever, we'll call it, where they start to get really irritated with each other, and by the 7th day they're like at each other's throats, and that's kind of like a super funny scene. And so there's a lot of color in this game that you've basically missed. So here's the final fight. Now what we're gonna do, he did freeze him right off the bat. That is actually mad unlucky. So we're not gonna do anything here. We're gonna activate here. We're gonna hit Boots. Oh, he's confused. That's not stellar. So we might end up having to, I don't know what to do about this, so we're just gonna wait and see how it goes. And we needed to get rid of Boots' first, but because Boots was confused and he took his turn, remember when you have this magic open, the menu is frozen, so nobody can get ATB yet. I'm gonna assess. He's poisoned and that. So we need him to take a step forward, but because his ATB is moving so slow, he's gonna replenish that spot before Boots can do so. So I'm actually gonna choose to pass my turn here and let things kind of progress because I need my ATB to fill up. So you basically have to kill with one person and then move with the person that you didn't kill with. But because Boots lost his turn right as I triggered, okay, this is not stellar. All right, final boss is giving me the business because I didn't go get that one item I said we wouldn't need. And, that's just kind of the nature of life. Thankfully, the estimate is fat. The vibes are good. And we're just going to have to hope that it doesn't continue to reset our ATB. No reset. Nice, no reset. Come on, get there without resetting, Boots. If Boots gets there, we're fine. We're gonna hit Boots's, and then we're gonna have Boots move. Can we get there? Can we get there? Come on, Boots. Get there, buddy. All right. So he actually is gonna move forward, and that's gonna make that spot no longer be accessible. Like, it can't be used anymore. It can't be replenished. So we're down to these two characters. And even though it still says Boots, it's actually not Boots. It's different characters. It's very confusing to figure out who is who, and you just kind of have to hit the button and see who gets highlighted. Okay, so right here, we're gonna wait for this ATB, because remember, you have to kill with one person, move with the other. So we wanna make sure that both ATBs are fully charged before we do anything here. So we're going to cast this on, so this is Row. We wanna hit this. No, that's Stiletto. This here is Paco. Yes. And Paco, we're going to open this menu now so that it freezes the ATB. We're going to wait for this animation to go by so that we can move forward onto this object here. Now we're going to exit, hit 2, and you're going to see that this is now populated. He can move forward, he can get rid of that. Cool. So next character up, and we basically repeat this process for all of the elemental orbs, and it'll eventually go faster. We're gonna heal her. He's gonna do a bunch of damage to us. That's fine, not a big deal. Then we are going to hit 4. And then 9, and basically clear all these out again. Now, this is kind of a slow fight. I don't want to bore you to death. So, host, if you have anything else to plug here, you can feel free to do so for a minute. All right.
Sure. Did you know that roughly 1 out of 5 Americans live with a mental health condition? We at RPG Limit Break are proud to be raising money for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, a charity that works tirelessly toward cracking the code of mental illness through various means, such as education, leadership, and increasing the availability of care. Please join RPG Limit Break in supporting this incredibly worthy cause.
Alrighty. We're just basically waiting for the ATB to do our business for us. At this point, everything looks good. Okay, so he needs to hit Democritus. And this is Democritus. Yes, so we'll go ahead and clear Democritus, and we'll get ready. Oh, bother. The characters are mixed up, and it confused me. So unfortunately, we're going to have to wait for this to pass out one more time here. Boop, boop, boop. We're going to have to wait for the ATBs to line back up because it tricked me. Again, the characters are, this is not Pal and Row. This is actually Democritus and Pal, and their characters are actually swapped. So it's a little confusing sometimes to figure this out. The game is, let's just say, not super cleanly put together. Stiletto is finally starting to take her turn again, which is important for us. See, that's what happens if you don't have 2 characters to move. He just replenishes that spot. So Stiletto has got her ATB cooking, which is fine. We had to wait this long because we kind of screwed up earlier, and that's okay. I'm not a perfect person, and neither is this run, but it's still going to be underestimate, and it's a great time. And if you agree, then please learn the game, because it is a ton of fun. And there are tons of skips, and we truly believe the game can get sub 1 hour with a couple more skips, so you might be that missing piece that we need to put that together. So please do so. We would be very, very lucky to have anybody who's interested in running this incredible title. So there's actually just 2 characters left, and there's not much more that can be done at that point. So this is just a matter of waiting. We have essentially tackled Anachronox. And host, if you have anything left to say as we bring this kind of to an end here, you can feel free to fill the last little bit of time with something other than my voice.
Sure. Dragon Roast Coffee is a small, passionate team of coffee roasters that are dedicated to making coffee for gamers and the gaming community. Visit their website at www.dragonroast.coffee and enter the promo code RPGLB25 at checkout for 10% off your order. In addition to their coffee, you can also purchase an exclusive dual-insulated RPG Limit Break tumbler available only for this event. And the best part is that all purchases made using the promo code DRAGONROAST will donate a portion of the proceeds to NAMI. So what are you waiting for? Get out there and fuel your adventure with Dragon Roast Coffee today.
Yeah, and I will say on that note, Dragon Roast Coffee has been a huge part in me staying up this late tonight, so shouts to the sponsor. And for what it's worth, I've spent a King's Ransom on their website over the last couple days, and I will say that their flavors are really, really phenomenal and incredible. And with that, that is actually time, so if you want to go ahead and stop that. I didn't give you much warning because I was talking about the coffee. I was entranced by the coffee. Back to the coffee, right? Back to the coffee. They have all kinds of really interesting flavors over there. Flavors I'd never even heard of or tried. So I had to obviously order every single one of them. I highly recommend you do the same. It's for good. They're not expensive coffees, and they're like, really, really fancy different kinds of flavors and things like that. I think they have like a nut and honey kind that looked really good. The Necromancer kind, which I believe is like a dark chocolate. Or something to that effect. My wife is really into that. So, I mean, they didn't even tell me to say all this. I just really vibe with the product, and I'm sure that surprises no one. This is the end of Anachronox here, where we've basically saved the world and everything has gone well. I'm going to go ahead and, for the sake of time, go ahead and take advantage of the donation incentive that we met, which was to see the cheater NPC. I believe that was met, correct me if I'm wrong over there.
Yes, certainly was.
Alrighty. So we're going to go ahead and take advantage of that right now. Ultimately, what you're seeing here is that Boots ends up back at the bar, except he's got friends now, and he's going to try to solve mysteries. There's like dozens of dead bodies in our wake, an entire planet that is no longer there, but like everybody's just like not worried about that, you know what I mean? And that's really the story of Anachronox. I wish I could have done it better in terms of doing it justice and the story justice, but there's so much. I highly recommend you play it casually and you go have a good time with it. So here, we're going to go ahead and hit a couple of console commands, and this one's going to let us fly. We're going to come all the way up here to this guy. And we're going to turn this off, and we're going to talk to him and say, bro, what are you doing up here? And he's going to look at us. You can see he's an uglier guy, but he says, you mock me with your presence. I don't have the luxury of simply cheating and flying through walls as you can. Alas, I am bound by the rules. I'm afraid I'm stuck here forever with only these falcons to watch me. How did you get here? Well, I was on this rooftop, and it's all that remains of the ship's company and crew marooned here. So basically what he's saying is, you lie. In this file of the game files, you had a fair chance. And he's like, this is the game file. This game file was edited and saved, and I'm just a remnant of living here. And long story short, he basically says that he was one of the first prototypes of characters in the game. And even though he is low in polygon count, he's high in intelligence because he was one of the original characters they made. And when they continued to build on the game, they kind of forgot to remove him, and they just left him up here. And he says, Falcons, they do what I say. I've taught them to bring food to me. He says, if I weren't so lonely, I'd kill you. And he says, do whatever you want. I'm the one cheating, which again, we had to cheat to get up here. So a lot of breaking of the fourth wall. And why is your head so square? And he says, initially, I was created in 1998, blessed with superior intellect, but a crummy poly count. What, you got about 200 polys? He's like, 168, if you must ask. He says, wow, I ain't too bright, but I got at least about 700. Bastard. And that's the cheater NPC. Here are his birds. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Anachronox. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for sticking it out with me, hanging out, having a good time. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you so much to the host. You've been excellent. Tech, all you guys have been incredible. Look out for the next runs, the next donation incentives. There's a lot going on this week, and it is a great cause. So I hope you guys have a great time and continue to stay watching. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. GG on that awesome run. Really enjoyed it. Really entertaining run there. So that was Anachronox with Palmer. We're going to be setting up for our next run, which is going to be Community Palm. But that is going to be it for me. I've been your host, Alice Rajasu. I'm going to be handing it over to Hebanks, who is going to do a great job hosting for you all coming up. So yeah, thanks for having me, and I'll see you around later.
Hello, RPG Limit Break. My name is Hebbings, and before I say anything else, I just want to go ahead and give a huge shout out to Alice for that amazing job hosting before I came on, and also want to send shout outs to the people involved with our foreign language restreams. Our French restream can be found at twitch.tv/LaFrenchRestream, and our Japanese restream at twitch.tv/Japanese_restream. If those restreams can help you better enjoy the marathon, please go check them out and send them some love. All right, folks, it looks like we are ready for our next